live down in my super secret stockpile room. Do you think it's a secret anymore, dear?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so you guys know we just use that for titles. I mean, seriously, we got to have somebody click on something so we can keep the lights on. All right, so we're taking questions today on my stockpile room, and I thought I would show you guys some of the things that we have in here. Okay, so we're just going to jump right in and get going. So if you missed something, you can just come back. Karen says, does vacuum sealing oatmeal in jars or bags extend the shelf life? Love your channel. Thank you, Karen. She's from Facebook. So first of all, anytime you remove oxygen from your food, it will make it last a lot longer, okay, by several years. So yes, vacuum sealing it is fine. Now, for those of you who don't know, Mom has a vacuum sealer and she uses it all the time. I used to have one, but when I had 5 kids at home, we were going through the food so fast that I had no need to vacuum seal it because we were just rotating through it. Now that it's just Mike and I and the 2 boys that are left, and Dave will probably move out in the next year or 2, I probably will start vacuum sealing more. So you can take jars like this, and I got these at a garage sale, I think for $1. And you can put your oatmeal or your flour or whatever in here, put the vacuum seal attachment on the top, and it will suction out all of the air, and it will keep longer. But here's the thing. I would not waste valuable canning jars on vacuum sealing grains. Okay, I say this all the time because I know this is a tip that a lot of people share, but I really don't think it's a good tip, guys. You can vacuum seal your flour in here, which would probably cost you about maybe 25 cents worth of flour in here. Or you can in here chicken or beef or pork, which would cost you probably, oh, I don't know. I would think you could get at least 2 pounds of chicken in here. So we're talking 2 pounds of chicken, which would be $6 to $7 versus 50 cents of flour. I would not waste valuable canning space with grains. Okay, so that's another tip right there off the bat. Let me get over to YouTube and find the questions here. You guys go ahead and put the questions in there. I'm getting the questions that we had before the show first. So the next thing, let me go back to canning jars for just a second here. The next thing, do as I say, not as I do. I know that's going to be used against me, but no comments from the peanut gallery back there.
I won't do it while we're on the show, though.
Never, ever, ever leave canning jars empty. And you're going to say, what, Tara? Listen, if you're prepping, your canning jars need to always be full. If nothing else, store water in them until you're ready to can something or store something. Okay, now I just finally got my stockpile room the way I want it. And in the midst of that, I thought I had every box unpacked, and I found 3 boxes of canning jars that I didn't know I had on top of these 6 that I have. I have 6 sets of 6 here. I'm going to fill them up with water until I put food in them, because at least I will have emergency water in that instead of leaving them empty. So don't ever leave canning jars empty if possible. At the very minimum, fill them with water and just have them sitting on your shelf. Okay, Mike's going to pull your questions, guys, but I'm taking the ones that we had right before the show. Okay, how long can dressings and sauces last in a stockpile? I bought 3 bottles of each on clearance, and I'm wondering how long I can keep them. Julie wants to know. Okay, so here's my sauces and dressings right here. Okay, and we have mayonnaise, we've got honey mustard, Hidden Valley Ranch, and sweet and sour sauce. Okay. When you have dressings, marinades, whatever, that are like sugar-based, sugar is a preservative. Okay. So this one, where's the expiration date? Hello? Oh, here it is. Best by January 2024. This could easily go 2 years probably past the best by date on a sugar-based. Okay, this is sugar-based. Now, egg and dairy-based. Your mayonnaise, your ranch. Unopened, I would go 3 to 4 months past the expiration date. Opened, I would never, ever, ever go past the expiration date. Okay. Your dairy, egg-based dressings, marinades, mayonnaises, you will get food poisoning if you go past the expiration date opened. Okay. Until they get air in them, they don't start spoiling. But I would not use any of those past the expiration date. Now, ones like the honey mustard. Let's see what's in here. Water, sugar. Looks like our honey mustard doesn't have, oh no, it has eggs. So I wouldn't do the honey mustard either. Now, things like, can they see Mike's array of Taco Bell sauces?
I know we're running short.
He's wondering with the tomato shortage if we should go get some more.
That's got to be at least a 3-week supply over there.
You think that's a 3-week supply? Oh, I was thinking about 10 days. So this expires August of 2022. So we must have gotten this last year. This has tomatoes, and that's about it. Now, because it's tomato-based, in a glass jar, it should be fine for another year to 18 months, 2 years. But if it was in a can, some acidic foods, like your tomatoes and your pineapple, they can go quicker in your cans than just say fruits or vegetables. So if it was in a can, I wouldn't go more than 6 months to 18 months past, 6 to 18 months past the expiration date. But since it's in a bottle, I think we could easily get 2 years out of that. Okay. Let's see. How often do you go grocery shopping? Kim wants to know. Well, we go grocery shopping every single day down here in my basement. Literally, this is my grocery store in my basement. I haven't had as much space as this, but I have always had extra food on hand, and I've always grocery shopped about once a month, give or take. Now, when I had 5 kids at home, I grocery shopped about every 2 to 3 weeks. Now that I only have 2 kids at home, I'm going about every 6 weeks for a big shopping trip. And then if something's on sale, I will go that particular week and pick up what is on sale and stockpile what's on sale, but I don't do a big grocery shopping. Okay. Christine says, I am slowly starting to stockpile the foods my family will eat. Is it worth stockpiling cake mix and frosting for future birthdays to save money instead of buying a cake? Yeah, by like a long ways. So you spend $20 to $30 on a birthday cake at Costco, Walmart, wherever, and you can spend, let's see, I guess I don't have any frosting down here. Well, these are brownies, but you'll get the point. Spend $1 to $1.50 for a cake mix, $1 to $1.50 if you don't make homemade frosting. So let's say you buy store-bought frosting, store-bought cake mix, we're talking $3. Right there, you save no less than $17 up to $27 on a birthday cake. This is where Mom and I get totally frustrated. This is the kind of thing that people don't do. They say, I can't stockpile. I can't stockpile cereal when it's 50 cents a box because I don't have extra money. Yes, you're going out and buying $20 to $30 birthday cakes when you could be making them at home for $30.
Wait, I have at home for $30.
for $3, at home. I have one time got a purchased birthday cake for 3 birthdays. All of my kids are born, not all of my kids, but 2 of my kids and my husband are all born within just a couple of months of each other. So one time I saw birthday cakes on clearance for $3.50 at Walmart. I threw them in the freezer, waited for the birthdays, and I used those for their birthdays. Otherwise, we have never, ever paid retail for a birthday cake from the store. And that's one of the ways I was able to spend $400 a month feeding 6 of us, even with teenagers. So I was trying to count how many teenagers, 3 teenagers I had at the time. So that's how I do that. Okay, now the last question, put your questions in there. Mike will pull them and I will answer them. My last question from earlier is, what are some of the key gluten-free, dairy-free foods in your stockpile? Okay, so I have been gluten-free, dairy-free for more than 10 years, 10, 12, 13 years. 13 years. I've been gluten-free for 13 years. So I wrote my gluten-free, dairy-free Dining on a Dime cookbook. This is what I use to feed myself and my family for some things. Right now, guys, all of our cookbooks, 35% off. We're having our Labor Day sale. Go grab them right now while they're on sale. Volume 1, Volume 2, and gluten-free, dairy-free. This is what I use to feed myself, and my boys love it also. But it is adapted from my Dining on a Dime cookbook. So just so you know, my Volume 1, my gluten-free, dairy-free is adapted from that. Okay, so now, what are some of the things? All right, Mike, you're going to have to do a little camera work here real quick.
Oops.
First of all, we'll start over here. And just a minute, Mike's going to get over here. But, no, you're fine. You could just move the camera.
I was trying to get it around that chair.
Yeah, I mean, just this part. Okay, so we have rice right here. Okay, down here I have my gluten-free oatmeal. Okay, now up here, right here, Mike's going to get you. I have instant rice. I have instant mashed potatoes. This is all gluten-free, dairy-free, guys. I have dehydrated potatoes that Mom dehydrated for me in our dehydrator. I have Cheerios, Honey Nut Cheerios, Taco Bell sauce, rice noodles. We're coming over here. Let's see. I have not a lot, but I have my chickpea pasta. I also usually have rice pasta. I just need to restock. I've got over here my gluten-free, dairy-free, all-purpose flour. I've got my sugars, my shortenings, my sugar. And then in the other room, I have canned green beans. I have canned peaches. I have canned pears. I have canned fruit cocktail. I have black beans. I have navy beans. I have olives. I have canned tuna, canned chicken, canned beef. I have my tea because that's super important. And I've got things like green chili, tomato powder. Guys, all of those things are gluten-free, dairy-free. All of those things are good for diabetics. Diabetics can eat rice. Diabetics can eat potatoes. It's just stop eating so much rice and so much potatoes. A portion of rice is a half a cup. That's why diabetics have issues, because they don't eat the proper portion. They eat a whole bowl full instead of the half a cup they're supposed to. Okay, Mike's going to pull questions for me. Let me make sure I got everything on here. I did. Okay. So while Mike's getting the first question, let me show you right here. Okay, now, how do you figure how much food you need? That is a big question that everybody gets. So let me show you how I figure. This is a 2-pound bag of rice right here. Can you see that? Okay, right back here on the nutrition facts, right there. Can you see? Whoop, right there. Okay, it says this is 20 servings at 160 calories. So how did I figure out that this is 1.5 days worth of food for one person? Okay, so 2 of these is 3 days worth of food for one person. I took the serving size, 20, multiplied it by the calories, 160, took that number and divided it by 2,000 calories a day to eat. And I know that I have 1.5 days worth of food for one person in this bag. Same thing, 5-pound bag. I know that this is 4 days worth of food for one person. 20-pound bag right here. 16 days for a 20-pound bag for one person, okay? So one person could live on 16 days on just a 20-pound bag of rice. Now, that is just the rice. You could probably squeeze a couple more days on that if you have butter or something else that you're adding to the rice. But that's, let's just say, the worst case scenario, and all you can eat is rice. That would be 16 days worth of food. So then what do? I go through and I multiply, and I say I have, let's see, how many do I have? I have 1, 2, 3, 4 times 4, 16. Each of these holds 20, okay? So 20 times 1.5 days would be, what is that, 10 days? Is that right? Yeah. Yeah. So this would be 10 days worth of food. Did I do my math right?
I didn't hear what
I
you
forgot
said.
to add 20 times 1.5. Where's my phone?
That's 30.
30 days. Yeah, 30 days. I went the wrong way. 30 days. So this is 20 bags. 20 2-pound bags of rice is 30 days worth of food for one person. Okay? So that's how I figure. The same with my oatmeal.
Come over there.
So right here you can see where it says it's 227 servings at 150. This is 17 days for one person if they were only eating oatmeal. Okay? Whew. And that's at 2,000 calories. You could get by with 1,500 calories, even 1,200 calories for, a few months if you're not doing hard labor, and be just fine. Okay, my love, what is the next question?
Ooh, well, first of all, somebody said to tell you how lovely you look.
Thank you. You guys like my haircut. I gave myself a haircut right before the show, like 1 hour before the show. I was freaking out all my friends and family.
Yes, you was.
It actually worked. So what happened was I got to roaming around on YouTube, and I ran across this guy. Can't give him credit because I don't remember his name. It started with an M or something. He was a little on the strange side. But anyway, he showed how to shag layer your hair. And I didn't quite like the way it had turned out the last time. There was a couple of pieces that weren't quite what I was wanting. So I thought, well, I'm just going to try it. So I watched a video on cutting someone's hair, and I decided to cut my hair an hour before the show. That's Tara for you.
It went better than trimming Mike's eyebrows.
Yeah, it went way better than trimming Mike's eyebrows. Poor Mike. Have they grown back? Let me see. Yeah, they're back. Okay. Poor Mike. He looked like, what's his name? Uncle
somebody on.
Or cousin somebody or another on Seinfeld. Remember that, guys? All right. Go ahead, dear. Shoot me some questions.
How long can you keep shortening before it goes bad?
Okay, so oils.
But you may have to repeat it.
How long do you keep shortening until it goes bad? So oils, you can't really go too long. So, holy cow, did I bring this from Colorado? I must have brought this from Colorado. So you can't really go too long past the expiration date. Now, this one is a year past the expiration date. I must have brought these from Colorado and got them mixed up in my thing. Because normally what I do is I put the new stuff at the back and the old stuff at the front, and this must have gotten mixed up. So anyway, I will open this, see if I can still use it. And what I'll do is I'll start using this now for frying oil and stuff instead of olive oil or something like that for a while, just to get this used up. Now, if your oils go bad, dear, I hate to say this, but I'm going to need a fan. It's like super hot with all these lights in here. Maybe Jack could go get one. Nope, dear, right there. You can make soap out of this. Don't throw it away. You can make soap. You can use it as hand cream. It works really, really good if you have dry, chapped hands. So if it goes rancid, and you'll know it's rancid because it smells bad. It doesn't smell like normal shortening, okay? That's how oils, all your oils are this way. It smells bad because it'll just smell off. And you'll know that it's bad, but you could still make shortening. You can still use it as hand cream, foot cream, anything like that. And it will still be fine for that, okay? Now, what happens if something expires like that and you freak out? Thank you. Don't freak out. First of all, guys, you have to think of your stockpile as kind of like an insurance whatever. Try higher, maybe. Maybe try oscillating it. How many of you pay car insurance? How many of you pay house insurance and you never collect on it? Okay, so you spend thousands of dollars a year on car and house insurance. We're gonna go get a different fan, guys. Sorry. Think of your stockpile as the same thing. Let's say you spend $1,000 on your stockpile and maybe $100, $150 worth goes bad because you did like I did and you got your rotation wrong. Don't freak out. Yeah, you may have lost it, but first of all, figure out ways that you can use it for something else. Secondly, okay, so you lost $150 worth of food. Most people will spend $50 on one takeout dinner 2 or 3 times a week. That's nothing. So you have to keep these things in perspective. If something goes bad or you lose it, you try not to get anything to go bad or let anything go bad. You try not to lose it. But if you do, don't freak out about it. Don't worry about it. Figure out what you can use it for. And if you can't, oh, well, it's okay. Okay, next one.
Well, what I'm looking at right now is a number of people asking about how you store water. One person says, I know you have a filter. Another person says, do you boil it?
Okay, so first of all, here, right here. Yes, thank you. Thank you, DJ, Jack, David, whoever you are. Jack. Thank you, Jack.
You can't say the girl's name.
Okay. Mr. Helpful there. Thank you, sir. Okay, so here is my water filtration right here, okay? So we have the filters right here and the spigot right here. I keep it in these buckets right here, and I just store it right here on this shelf, okay? And then, ooh, dear. Okay. But then I also have soda bottles and orange juice bottles. We don't buy orange juice, but our school has orange juice bottles that they will use for parties, or the parents will bring like juice or something like that. And we used to clean for the school, so we would pull the bottles out of the trash, and I would sterilize those and use those for water. And then I have also purchased some water because we didn't have enough other bottles for other stuff. I've also put it in bubble bath. I used to get bubble bath in the great big things until they ran out of bubble bath. Okay, my moment's over.
What's the point of prepping if you don't have bubble bath?
What's the point of prepping if you don't have bubble bath? My bubble bath jugs used to be like a gallon or so, and I would fill those with water, and then we can use those for like washing up, because it's not water safe plastic, or I mean, it's not drinkable. How do you say that? It's not I don't know. The plastic, I'm sure, in bubble bath maybe it is. I don't know, but I'm sure the plastic in bubble bath jugs wouldn't be water safe for consumption, is what I'm trying to say. So I just save those for like washing your hands, doing the dishes, whatever you need. If you really needed to, you probably could just filter and it would be fine. So
didn't we have a bunch of milk jugs?
Yeah, and I don't use milk jugs because I tried that and they disintegrate. So I don't use milk jugs anymore. And I also put them in a tote. Now, right now I have them in the room next door, which is our heater room, and it's right next to the drain, and the drain goes this way. So I don't have them in totes yet because I'm using my totes for other stuff. But as I go to garage sales, finding totes for $1.50 for free, I will pick them up and start putting my water bottles in them. Okay.
So Alicia uses Crisco for candles.
Oh, yeah. So that's another thing. Alicia uses Crisco for candles.
So if they're not good for eating, could you still use it for candles?
Yeah. So if it goes rancid, if your Crisco goes rancid, then just melt it down. And what you can do is you can take a canning jar right here, take a canning jar, put a long taper in the center, pour your oil in. You may have to put 2 knives on the top to hold the taper in place. And then just pour this in and you can use it as a candle. It's not going to smell real pretty. If you've got some essential oil or something, or like me, I'm a soap maker, I have tons of fragrance oil, then I could do that. Now, these used to come in metal cans. And let me see. No, the real Crisco doesn't come in metal anymore. They used to come in metal cans. If you can find shortening in metal cans, you don't have to do that. All you have to do is rip off the top, shove a taper in there, and you've got yourself, I think, oh man, I can't remember. It was like 350 hours burn time on these. It was a ridiculous amount. I can't remember the amount of time, but it was ridiculous. So yeah, that's a really good idea too. Okay, now guys, Mike's getting me the next question while he's pulling the next questions. Dining on a Dime, Volume 1, Volume 2, and gluten-free, dairy-free is free. 35% off right now. It's not free. I'm just saying it's gluten-free, dairy-free. And our Volume 1 and our Volume 2 are 35% off right now. The link is in the description below. Grab your cookbooks for our Labor Day sale. Next question.
Well, I was just going to say, Jay Moore says, I have cheap candles I got cheaper than Crisco.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, I'm just saying on your, so Jay Moore said that she has cheap candles that she got cheaper than Crisco. Yeah. I'm just saying that if your Crisco goes bad and you can't use it for hand cream or you can't use it for soap, you can still use it for candles. Just keep thinking of different ways. One time I got a huge box of candles at a garage sale for $1. I probably had 1,000 hours worth of burn time in these big candles that I got for $1. It was great. I had to get rid of them when we moved and I was really sad. But my candle collection is coming back up again, so I'm feeling good about it. So yes, dear. Next.
Actually, Teresa in the UK says, I've been using out-of-date milk for a week. I'm okay. It's in my teacup.
Teresa in the UK says she's been using out-of-date milk for a week and it's okay. She's in her teacup. And so you're closer to the mic. She come closer to the mic. So sit right here and come closer to the mic. Yes, you can use out-of-date milk until it sours, and even after it sours, do not throw your milk away. If I don't use it right away, I will freeze it in ice cube trays. Most the traditional ice cube trays is, oh shoot, I can't remember. Is it 1 or 2 tablespoons? I used to have it memorized. I don't know if it's 1 or 2 tablespoons. Let's see. I can't remember. Anyway, use it for muffins. Use it for pancakes. Use spoiled milk for breads. Any type of baked or cooked or fried breads, sour milk is really, really good for. So I do use it. I'll use it a week past the expiration date. Sometimes I'll get 10 days past the expiration date. And then if it actually starts to sour, I will use it in my muffins and all of those things. And then if I can't use it in time, I will freeze it in ice cube trays and then put those in a zip top bag in the freezer. Next one.
South Loop River Homestead is asking, how old is too old for dry beans? Like 100
Okay.
years old.
First of all, yes, you guys can watch this later. It will still be on YouTube. So go to Living on a Dime to Grow Rich on YouTube. That is us with 300,000 subs, so you can watch it later. How old is too old for beans? Well, so we don't eat a ton of beans. We eat a few, but not a ton. And everything I've heard from everybody else says that anything really over 5 years old, even though they're fine to eat and they last a long time, it's very difficult to cook them. You really have to soak them and you really have to boil them. So I would say 5 years, past 5 years, I probably wouldn't use them, or I would get them used up right at the 5-year mark. Guys, really, more than 3 years worth of food on hand, if you have the time and the space and the money to do that, that's fine. But really, 3 years is the maximum of food that you really should have on hand, because, you know, who wants to be eating food that's 25 years old? You know, I have some of the number 10 cans that are 25-year-old food, but when it hits 6, 7, 8 years, I get those eggs and the butter and the tomato out, and I start using them, because really, do you want to eat food that's 25 years old? Probably not. So anyway.
Well, after 3 years, if it's that big of a crisis, you're going to have to learn to adapt.
Yeah. After 3 years, if you know, the fecal matter has hit the oscillation unit and it's that bad, you're going to have to come up with something else. Next question.
Let's see.
Does
whole wheat flour go bad in the same amount of time as AP?
Does a whole wheat flour go bad as fast as all-purpose flour? Actually, it goes bad faster. So the more you refine something, the longer it will last. So brown rice only lasts 6 months, where white rice will last 10, 15, 20 years, okay? So brown rice, I never stockpile brown rice, never stockpile whole wheat flour, because the outer coating, the wheat germ on the outer coating has oils in it, and that's what spoils quicker. Now, flour does spoil a lot quicker. You can put it in Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers in, 5-gallon buckets, whatever. But flour is super cheap, and historically, flour and rice have always been probably the cheapest food, and beans, the cheapest food. So I wouldn't get 25 years worth of flour. I mean, you can, but I would focus more on things like your tunas, your beef, your canned chickens, especially now with them going berserk saying we're killing the world, eating a steak. My goodness. I would probably be stocking up on those things, because we're hurling towards crazy quicker than we really think. So, okay, next question.
Sorry, I got distracted. Oh, somebody was asking, did you already answer how long you store the water in the jar before you...
How long you store the water in the jar? So I rotate my water every 6 months. It might go longer. I don't know. I do not put bleach in it, but if you want to put 1 drop of bleach, you can in there. I don't, because I just rotate it out every 6 months. I water my plants with it, refill it, put it back down there, and keep going. And let me show you guys real quick before I forget. Everybody asks about our cat litter buckets. And here, hold on. Oh, there's Mr. Handsome. He's my troll patrol today. So here's my cat litter buckets. And you guys can see I have, oops, wrong. Let's see, is it this one? Hold on, let's go right there. Now, you can see I have them all stocked right there. See how they're all stocked on top of stocked. I have them stacked on top of each other, and they're stocked with rice. Okay, so let me show you. All right, let me point it down here again so you can see right there. Now, this here is my Diatomaceous Earth. Okay, my Diatomaceous Earth right there. This is my bug killer. And then what I do is I just sprinkle a little bit on top, and then I just sprinkle a little bit on the top of my food. Now my rice, let's see, do I have it in this? Well, this one doesn't have quite as much. I store my rice in the bag, in the bucket, right there. And then I sprinkle a little diatomaceous earth, close it, put a little bit on top. So if a bug happens to get on top, it'll kill it. And that's how I store my rice, flour, sugar, all of those with diatomaceous earth. And in the cat litter buckets, I get a lot of flack for using my cat litter buckets. So first of all, this was when we had 3 cats, when my niece moved in with us. She brought her 2 cats, and we had 3 cats at one point. And may they rest in pieces. And
oh, that's mean.
Sorry. It's a family joke. It's a family joke.
While the dog is fluttering.
Yeah, while the dog is fluttering. We have a joke that Buster. So here's a family joke real quick, guys. So we had this, one of her cats was Satan, we were sure. But a couple of the boys really liked him and really loved him. And but he was always causing trouble. And so he and the neighbor dog got into a fight and ended up not well for the cat. He was no longer with us. And so then when Buster died, we always joked around that Buster's in heaven, but he can't find Chumley, the cat, and he's wondering where Chumley went. We keep wondering if he actually went to heaven or if he went somewhere else. So it's a family joke. So anyway, but I get a lot of flack for my cat litter buckets. And let me tell you guys, stop worrying about things you don't need to worry about. I don't store my rice exposed to the plastic. It's in its original packaging, and it stacks in there very neatly. It's watertight. It keeps it fresh, but people have got to stop worrying about things that they don't have any control of. Now, even if I had to store my rice in there without being in the original package, I would do it, because guys, when you're hungry enough, that small amount of plastic going through your system that you're going to be pooping out anyway is not going to matter. It's really not. In an emergency situation, it is not going to matter. So you need to just take yourself a nice laxative, go free your colon from its bondage, and chill out about some of this stuff. Okay? Next.
Actually, 2 things. I don't know if you talked about it, but somebody asked if you're at all concerned about anything from the cat litter leaching into the plastic that would affect your food.
No, I'm not.
Plastic doesn't really absorb things very much.
Yeah, I'm not worried about anything leaching from the cat litter buckets because they're in the original package. I keep everything in the original package. So it doesn't touch my food. But like I said, even if it did, I wouldn't worry about it. If it's a difference between starving and eating rice that was stored in a cat litter bucket, I wouldn't worry about it. I wouldn't worry about it at all. And if you're worried about smells or anything, nothing smells because it's in the original packaging. If you're worried about it, just wash it out and let it thoroughly dry. Make sure it's thoroughly dry so nothing molds, and you're okay.
Regarding the wheat question, somebody suggested wheat berries, whole wheat berries to somebody.
So wheat berries, somebody said you can use wheat berries. Yes. What are wheat berries? It's the whole wheat seed, basically. Okay. A wheat berry is basically the wheat seed. But the problem with that is they do store, or the good thing about that is they store 25 years. The problem with that is you have to have a grinder to grind it up into flour. Manual grinders take a lot of manpower. So it's fine if you've got kids at home or you're younger. If you're older, you're probably not going to be able to grind that wheat to get it into flour. Next, you're going to have power if you have an electric wheat grinder. So, power may or may not be available. Who knows? So with the crazy that's going on right now, you don't know if you're going to have power one day to the next. So that's why I personally don't store wheat berries. But if you want to, you can. They last a long time.
Diana asked, how long will baking mix like Bisquick last past the expiration date?
So the thing with baking mix, oh, well, mine's down there on the bottom.
The baking powder.
Huh?
It's the baking
Yes, it is. Can you take that for me? The thing with baking powder is, it is, just a second. Whoa, oh, hello. Sorry about that. I screwed up. Oh, well, that's fine. I can't. I'm trying to get it to turn here. So, well, let's just try this. Hold on. Let's see. Can you see me? Okay, you can sort of see me. Okay, the thing with baking mix is it's the baking powder that expires in the baking mix. So pretty much the expiration date on there is when you want to use it by. But if you don't and it expires, all you have to do is add a teaspoon of baking powder per cup of flour or baking mix, and it will have, if you have fresh baking powder in there, it will reactivate. Well, it won't reactivate the old, but you'll have fresh baking powder in there to activate the rise for your pancakes and your muffins. Or, I mean, yeah, your muffins and your waffles.
So how long does it last stored, even if you add your own?
Well, I mean,
just
so basically baking mix expires on the expiration date because of the baking powder, but you can go 18 months, 2 years past that and add your own expiration date later.
Jennifer Weber says, you're a fountain of knowledge and you're always sharing it.
Aw, thanks, Jennifer. We love Jennifer. She's so wonderful.
Yes. Aria asked her, once you open a past the best by date jar of those things, how long should you store them in the fridge before they're truly bad? So if it says
so, okay, so how long past the best by date do things like this last? Okay.
She means after they're open.
Yeah. So anything sugar-based will go a lot longer than something milk, egg-based, okay? And oil and vinegar will go longer than the milk, egg-based also. So I would say, let's say this grape jelly, or this mint jelly, which is Mike's Mint Jelly. I got it for 85 cents. You can see right there.
I forgot.
It's like $4.50 or $5 now. It's ridiculous. It expired. Well, where's the expiration date? It expired. Oh, here it is. It's on the top. Let me see. Sorry, my elderly self here has to see. Oh, it's just expiring this year. So I got this 2 years ago, and the expiration date is just now coming up. But this will easily go 2 or 3 years unopened because it's sugar-based, okay? Now, I would probably go a year in the refrigerator for sugar-based type things. I would not go more than 2 months dairy, egg-based. And so your ranch dressings, your mayonnaises, mustard can go at least a year. The vinegar is kind of a preservative. So mustard could probably go a year past. Ketchup could probably go 6 months or so. It's acidic, so you couldn't go quite as long. I'm trying to think of what else you have in your fridge door. Barbecue sauce is sugar-based, so I would go probably 6 months past the expiration date if it's opened.
Darren in London wants to know.
Darren, hello. We haven't seen you forever.
Darren.
I hope you're doing good. Yes. What does Darren want to know?
If you have your Twinings tea here.
My what?
Your Twinings tea.
My Twinings tea. Well, no, but I have. Let's see. What do I have?
She's got Yorkshire tea.
All my Yorkshire tea. I have all my Yorkshire tea in there. I couldn't remember which one I had in there. So.
Am I out of the Twinings Earl Grey? Oh.
No, you're not out of the Twinings. You have some.
Okay. Meg wants. Oh, so sorry. Switching just quickly. Meg asked, "What happens to stored water if you keep it too long? Does it just
what happens to stored water if you keep it too long? It'll just mold. It'll just get moldy."
And Rachel asked, "What do you do about bugs in flour and baking mixes?"
What do you do about bugs in flour and baking mixes? So in the old days, they used to just sift them out and use the flour and bugs. And if the fecal matter hits the oscillation unit and we have a true major famine, you're going to be doing that, okay? So you need to just realize that's what you're going to be doing, and you're going to do it. But if right now, while we're still in good prosperity, prices are still cheap, you want to just throw it out. You can throw it out. And then just replace it. But you will need to completely clean your pantry with brown Lysol. In the brown, it's super concentrated. Brown Lysol will kill the eggs that have gotten on the shelves and all that kind of thing. And then you'll want to use your Diatomaceous Earth right here. Here, food grade Diatomaceous Earth right there. So you guys can see it. That's what I use. And once again, I store them in my buckets and I just sprinkle a little around the top and a little inside, and that will kill anything. Also, put it in the freezer. Now, everybody varies on this. Some people say 24 hours. Some people say 7 days. 24 hours has been fine when I've lived in places where there's bugs to kill everything. But other people have said 7 days. I think 24 hours is fine. Freeze your flour. Put it in there. That will help kill anything that happens to be in there. And guys, what you don't know is there's bugs in your food all the time. There is. Mike worked at a grocery store, and there's a certain amount of rodent droppings that are allowed in food on a regular basis at the grocery store. So,
and all grains are stored in grain elevators, so they can't prevent the bugs. But when you cook it,
talk louder.
But when you cook it, the bugs die. Or anything that would hurt you is killed. Yeah. So any of the bacteria that might carry or anything like that, when you cook it, it is killed and you're fine. Meg wondering how long for mayo? How long for mayonnaise? I would not go past the expiration date on mayonnaise ever. So. Sean said, heard about the tomato thing and purchased a case of tomato paste. Heard about the ketchup thing or the tomato thing, and Sean got a case of tomatoes. Yeah, I mean, I would go stock up, guys, if they're going to have a tomato shortage. I'm the only one who eats tomatoes in our house. No one else eats tomatoes. Jack will eat some spaghetti sauce a little bit. This is the extent of Mike's tomato consumption right there. And Jack will eat ketchup, but we really don't eat tomatoes very much. I'm the only one who does. And so we don't really buy tomatoes that much. Well, there is a shortage on tomatoes like every other year. Yeah. It seems like they're always having a shortage on something. It's always good to keep extra. Yeah. Okay, so wait a minute. Commercial break, guys. Dining on Dine Cookbooks, 35% off right now. While Mike's getting the next question, he's putting an ad in there. Volume 1 and Volume 2 are two totally separate books, but they go together. But they can be used apart from each other. So this one is not dependent on this one, but this one is a continuation of this one. It's all the recipes that we couldn't fit in here. And I mean, look at how huge that would have been if we would have put both of them together. And then our gluten-free, dairy-free cookbook is 35% off for all of them, guys, right now. Oh, and our planners. Hand me the planners, Mike, just for you guys who are getting planners right now, because I know everybody's getting their planners for next year. We have 2 polka dot left, and we have 16 tropical left, and that's it. We're not printing anymore. We've had printer issues, and I'm done messing with it. I'm really sorry. I know some of you guys absolutely love our planners. I'm super, super sorry, but I just can't mess with it anymore. It's driving us nuts. So, all right, next question. Hold on, grabbing the planner link here. Oh, okay. Mike's getting the planner link. Sorry, guys. Paris asked, are those blue bags sugar? So these blue bags are all sugar. And what's interesting is down on the bottom here, I have some dark blue bags. If you've seen, can you see clear right down there? Hold on. So these ones down here, I don't know what Mike's doing. Oh, he's plugging in my computer. Okay. Show them clear down here. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Hold on. He's not moving yet. I don't know what he's doing, but he's not doing the kit. Well, stop right there. See these ones right here? Okay. So you can see right here, I have my Diatomaceous Earth just kind of sprinkled on it. It's food grade. It won't hurt you. If you've got parasites, it'll help clean out your system. It's no big deal. But these ones here are from, you can't see it. It's really dark. 1/28/17 is the expiration date. So I bought these
which means I would have bought these 17 in 2015. Okay. They're still, you can see, they're not rock hard or anything. They're still usable, and we are still using them. Let me see if I can, there. And it's just fine. Sugar will last a really, really long time. If your sugar gets hard, just use a grater to grate it off, and you can grate your sugar and then use it in whatever. So it's no big deal. That's the sugar we've been using. I just had kids leaving home. I had 3 kids leave home within, what, 2 years, a year? 3 kids leave home in a year or something like that. And so I just had extra because I wasn't cooking as much because I didn't have as many people at home anymore. So.
Well, nobody's asked, but if somebody asked why so much sugar, what would you say?
Well, I'm a cookbook author. So, so guys, I test recipes all the time. So when that thing going around hit, I was right in the middle of writing our gluten-free, dairy-free book in the beginning of 2020. And I couldn't get supplies to write it. So now I'm like, if something's in stock, I'm going to make sure I stay stocked up.
Tara, is gluten-free, dairy-free what makes your skin so young and beautiful?
Genetics and not smoking and not drinking. I think that's all it is, but thank you.
Paris says I store my dryer lint in empty yellow cat litter containers because it makes good fire starter, LOL.
Who does that?
Paris.
Paris says she stores her dryer lint in empty cat food containers as fire starters.
Carrie says I will finally be buying your cookbooks.
Yay! Thank you, Carrie, for finally buying our cookbooks. Yay! 35% off right now. But yeah, dryer lint is really good for fire starters.
So Kim was wondering, do you look for sales prior to going to the store, or do you just find the sales when you get to the store?
Do I look for sales, Kim wants to know, before going to the store or when I get there? So I always check the sales ad every single week to see what's on sale. So like this week, boneless, skinless chicken breasts are $2.25. So as soon as we're done here, I am heading to the store to go pick up some of those. And well, pick up a lot of those because I'm going to fill my freezer. $2.27 is a great deal right now for us here in Wyoming. And so I'm going to go, my freezer is about half full. So I'm going to probably fill my freezer with that. And then I also look when I'm at the grocery store. If I see something like that has a yellow clearance tag at one of the Kroger stores, that's a really good deal. I'll pick up those. Canned goods, meat that's going to expire, the sell-by date will be that day or the next day. Then I'll buy it and just throw it in my freezer, and it's still good 3 or 4 days after that date. So I just throw it in my freezer and then pull it out the day I need it.
Sorry, hang on a second. Control action there. Okay. Where was I? Those cookbooks look huge.
Yeah, so they are huge. So Dining on a Dime is almost 600 pages. When we say it's an encyclopedia of frugal cooking, this is it. This is the only frugal, how to save money on your grocery bill cookbook this big that I've ever seen. We are it, guys. This is it. And if somebody makes a bigger one, I'll just throw Dining 2 in there, and then we'll still be the bigger.
That's how you roll.
Because that's how I roll. And then our volume 2 and our gluten-free, dairy-free are 400 and some odd pages, and then gluten-free is almost 400 pages.
So Beth asks, I'm thinking of moving into a smaller space than where I currently am in. What do you suggest for storage of prep? Right now I have 800 square feet looking at 500.
So I lived in a 400 square foot apartment when I was living in the mountains of Colorado. When I met Mike, my cute little cabin in the woods, it was above the garage of my landlady's house. It was an apartment above her garage. So as I'm thinking from when I lived there, I had space under my bed. I had space on like this back wall type thing where I could have stacked stuff and made like a table in the closets, in the corners, on the bottom, on the tops of the closets. I did have a little storage area in her garage that I could stack stuff. And so I put a few things in there. If you can get a little storage shed, get a storage shed and put things that can't be hurt by being frozen or too hot in there. And then put your stockpile stuff in the house if you can. Those are some things that I would do. And you're not going to be able to stock you're not going to be able to stock 3 years worth of food. Not that you should stock that much. I mean, you can if you want, but you're not going to be able to stock huge amounts, but you could easily get 6 months to a year's worth of food in a place like that. Because think about it, guys. So it would just take 300 bags of rice. Well, I've got 20, 40, 60 bags right here. So when you think about it, a year's worth of rice would fit right here on the shelf. Okay. So if this shelf was completely stacked, that would be a year's worth of rice just alone. So it's actually not as much as you think it is. It wouldn't be as much as you think it is.
Crystal says, love this. First time catching you live.
Oh, thanks, Crystal.
Cecilia, I have to say I'm so inspired by your previous video on your stockpile. Thanks so much. I didn't want to miss this video.
Yay! I'm glad you were inspired by it. You know, we have a lot of people that say, oh, people are going to come after it. Listen. Okay, so they come after us if the fecal matter hits the oscillation unit. First of all, I know Jesus. He's going to take care of me if they come after me. Secondly,
we have the means to
resist. Mr. Smith and Mr. Wesson. And I was pretty proud of myself. I hadn't used Mr. Smith and Mr. Wesson in about 30 years. And we did last weekend. And I should have you go get the Target.
She was going all bananas.
I was just doing so good. I actually hit the target, and I hit like, what, 20
times? Yeah,
like 30 times. I hit the target on my first time using Mr. Smith & Wesson in about 30 years. Dave and Jack, their first time ever, my goodness, they probably hit 50 times on their target. It was really pretty impressive. I was pretty proud of my boys for the first time ever. And then for me, it'd been 30 years. But listen, we have the means to protect ourselves, first of all. Second of all, Jesus is going to protect me anyway. I'm not worried about it. Third of all, if they come in, I'm just going to look at it as an opportunity to share Jesus with them and just say, you know what, you need Jesus, and I'm going to tell you about it as you're hauling all my stuff out. So, you know, guys, everybody says, oh, you're fear-mongering, oh, you're panicking. No, first of all, we're being prudent. We're being like the ant in the Bible who stores up. We're being like Joseph in the Bible who was told to store up. We're being like great-grandma and grandma who would store up to get them through the winter. We're at the end of the supply chain here in Wyoming. A blizzard could hit, and I mean, it's very possible we could not get food for several weeks. I'm not going to keep my family, I'm not going to have my family be put in harm's way because I was being responsible and didn't stock up when I couldn't stock up, when I could stock up. And last but not least, I'm a cookbook author. This is our job. We do videos on cooking. We do recipes on cooking. So this is part of our business also. So here's my target. I was really proud of myself. Look at that. 30 years. I actually hit it. And it was quite a ways away.
Yeah, it was 25 yards.
25 yards?
Yeah, we were sighting it in. So because we were sighting it in, we had this bigger paper. Turn it the other way. I'll see you. This bigger paper, and those are the ones that didn't quite line up.
So this
Sorry, just
was,
went
I don't know
crazy.
how this was on here, but I think it was something like this or something. I can't remember, but still.
It was right in front of those holes.
For 30 years, not doing anything, I was rather impressed with myself. And then the boys, theirs was completely shot up. I was like, wow, my boys got me.
Did you already scroll through some of this?
Mm-mm.
Jennifer asked, what is your opinion of MREs?
What is my opinion of MREs? I think it's fine to have a few on hand so that if you need to leave your home or you don't have a way of cooking food, you can basically just add water or just eat them without anything. You can just eat them out of the packet. The only problem I have with that is they are so ridiculously expensive that you might as well just get a can of tuna or a can of chicken or some granola bars. And you guys do the math here. I don't know. Look up, I don't know. What's the price for MRE? What's the price for MREs? Oh, I don't know if I have signal down here. Let me see here. So we have MREs, $45 for a 4-pack, ready to eat. Now, it doesn't say, my phone is not getting, can you look on there real quick, Mike, and see, type in MRE and see how many days one of those is? So let's just do the math here.
Meals?
Yeah, how many meals it is. So do MRE, and I'll get my calculator here. It is, do shopping, and you'll find one.
Well, there's.
Okay, we're going to look this up here. Now, they're perfectly fine if you have the money. The problem is, just click on one and tell me the servings and the price. Hold on. So we have a case for $137. And how many servings is it?
12 meals per case. So is it 12 meals for $137?
So $137 for 12 meals. That's $11. Not quite. Yeah. $11.50, $11.50 a meal for MREs. How many cans of tuna and how many things of granola bar could you buy for that? So for $11 for one meal, you could probably get, my goodness, you could probably get 4 boxes of granola bars for $8, and then maybe the other 8, 9, 10, 11 cans of tuna for $3 for 3 of them. So you could probably get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You could probably get 10 meals out of that same money if you just bought regular food and rotated it out.
And it says it has 1,250 calories.
1,200 calories. Oh, for one?
Yeah, is that?
Oh, well, if it's 1,200 calories for one, then it would probably be just 3 times the amount of doing it as buying granola bars. So it's fine for taking it home or taking away from home for easy food to eat, but it is really expensive, and I don't know if it's worth it.
Okay, let's see. Do the cookbooks have recipes for using cans and things from our pantries and stockpiles, or is it more for fresh produce, etc.?
Okay, do the cookbooks have recipes for using canned goods and stuff from your pantry, or is it more fresh produce, etc.? So here's the thing. It's not necessarily fresh produce or whatever. We do have canned recipes in here. By the way, 35% off right now, guys, for all 3 books. I've only got 2 right here, but get the next one ready. 90% of the recipes in our cookbooks, you just use canned chicken instead of fresh chicken. You just use canned beef instead of fresh beef. You just use canned corn instead of, well, canned corn is probably something in there. You just use canned green beans instead of fresh green beans. So it's super easy to adapt. Super, super easy. So yes, you can use your stockpile with this cookbook very easily.
But also, if you're not stockpiling, it's regular food.
Yeah, if you're not stockpiling, then you can just use your regular food also.
Annie Buck, what about vinegar bottles? I save them for plant watering, using them for
water.
Water.
Vinegar bottles. I use vinegar bottles to store my water in. that they're food safe. So that's what I store my water in.
You look like you've lost weight, looking great.
Thank you. I've lost about 25 pounds. So
somebody else asked how you're doing it.
I'm just not eating as much food. I've kind of plateaued, and so I need to cut back a little bit more now. But yes, thank you. I've stopped eating quite so much.
And it's largely sugar.
Yeah, I've cut out sugar, and I'm also dairy-free and gluten-free. So
Kathy wants to know, what kind of dehydrator does your mom have?
My mom has the Excalibur dehydrator, and we absolutely love it. And we should probably go get an affiliate link for it because it's like the best stinking thing ever. We love it.
Okay. Jerrietta, I've bought tons of pancakes and syrup.
Jerrietta's bought tons of pancakes and syrup. Well, that's fine. I mean, it's food. If that's what you like, go for it.
Julie, how do you know bleach is expired for water if no expiration date and I forgot to label with the date?
Julie, how do you know bleach is expired from expiration date? I don't know. You would have to probably just Google that and see. Usually, I thought they had an expiration date on them, but you might just have to Google it and see. I have no idea how much passed. I do know that when the smell isn't as strong, then that means that it isn't as potent as it used to be.
Kimberly, are those your natural curls or did you get a perm? It looks exactly like my natural curls, which I've worn natural since I retired.
Thank you. No, I got a perm. My hair is not naturally curly. Although after Jack was born, my hair did curl. But that was, 13 years ago, and now it's starting to go straight again. So I just decided to bite the bullet and get a perm. But thank you.
Answered that one already. I have Rosalva. I have Ozarka bottled water. If it expires, is it drinkable?
If you have expired water, is it drinkable? I would say
it's Ozarka prepackaged water.
Ozarka
it's like it's bottled water that you buy in
I know.
a bottle. Okay.
Yeah. So if it's expired, I would say you can probably go 6 months past the expiration date easy, if not longer. But I mean, I don't know. I would say probably 6 months. It's just water, so it's probably fine.
Kathy, regarding water storage, you said milk jugs disintegrate, so should I just throw away the ones that I've saved?
Milk jugs disintegrate. So Kathy wants to know, milk jugs disintegrate. Should she throw ones she saved? Well, I mean, if you've already got them full of water and you're using them right now, that's fine. But I would start rotating them out. I found out that for me, it was about 2 years when they started disintegrating. So I probably wouldn't go longer than 2 years.
Let's see. Romaine asked, if you dehydrate veggies and make seasoned powders and stuff, is it okay to vacuum seal them to save your ball jars?
Yes, you can vacuum seal them. That's what Mom and I do usually. If we have extra jars, then we'll put like dried apples or my dehydrated potatoes up there. But yes, vacuum seal them. It's just fine. That's what I would do. And it saves space.
Doodle Toot asked, what do you do for medical preps, and do you think you could do a show on that?
So medical preps are down here, and I'll just run through real quick what I have. Michael. Ugh. Okay, so let me show you my medical preps. Can you see down here, sort of?
You mean take the camera
off? They can probably see well. I think they can probably see okay. Okay, so I have a few bags of Epsom salts. Why do I have Epsom salts? For a couple of reasons. First of all, if you have pooping problems, you can take this and it will free your colon from its bondage. Next, if you have sores, like if you get a cut or a wound or something, you can soak it in some water and salt or Epsom salt, and it will help heal the sore by killing the salt is an antibacterial and it will help kill. Also, if you have muscle issues, you can soak in it and it will help. So I have Epsom salts. Then I have rubbing alcohol, and that can be used for fire starter. It can be used for sterilizing. It can be used for cleaning. Rubbing alcohol, I would say, I would probably get rubbing alcohol even before bleach, because this is so much more versatile than bleach. Like I said, you can douse a cotton ball with it and it makes great fire starter. And you can make alcohol stoves with it also. The little tin cans, put a thing of toilet paper in there, a roll of toilet paper in a can about this big. Douse it with rubbing alcohol. Put a piece of foil over the top, poke a hole in it, stir it on fire, and you have a little cook stove. So that's why I do that. Then I have my elderberry for coughs and colds, that kind of thing, that thing going around. It helps not be quite so bad for us. And then I've got cough and cold syrups, cough drops, Mucinexes, those types of things. I have painkillers here, lots of painkillers there. Back here is a big box of soap, one of many boxes of soap. Then I have aloe. Make sure you get the kind with lidocaine in it. The lidocaine helps with pain. You don't want to be in pain when you've got a burn. And so I get the aloe with lidocaine. And then I've got athlete's foot type stuff. I've got lots of little hotel soaps and shampoos and those kinds of things. If we need to leave the house, it'll be easier. I have other soaps here. This was from before I was making soap. And so I still have this left over from when I was making soap. This one, I can make laundry detergent if I need to, but I have lots of, because I'm a soap maker, I probably have 100 pounds of laundry detergent and probably 300 pounds of regular soap. So I'm set on soaps and detergents and stuff. And then I have Tums, and I have probably 10 boxes of Alka-Seltzer. I have chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia, and this helps me feel better when I have a food reaction or whatever. And so I keep the Alka-Seltzer on hand. And this one is super important. Activated charcoal. Super, super important. Super important. Why? If you get food poisoning or you get a stomach bug, if you take activated charcoal, it absorbs whatever bug is in there, and it will not knock you out as bad as if you didn't take it. Absolutely love activated charcoal. Use it all the time. If we get stomach bugs, that's the first thing we take.
And M. Hayes asked if we have a list of medical supplies in any of the cookbooks. Does the cooking book have one in it?
I don't know. But we could add it to our stockpile book if we don't have one. I don't have one, but I'm sure you could just Google that.
Okay. Let's see, where was I on the list? Tina, I lived in Glendale, Wyoming, and that one time we had a snowstorm that we were snowed in for 3 weeks.
Yeah, Tina lived in Glendale, Wyoming, which isn't very far from us. It's only like an hour and a half or 2 hours from us. And she said they were snowed in for 3 weeks. Yeah, that's very possible. In many parts of the United States, you could have 3-4 weeks where you're stranded. Down south, it could be floods. It could be tornadoes. Up here, it could be blizzards. It could be mudslides, flooding. A majority of the country has major disasters where you could be without things for many weeks, guys. And you cannot rely on the government to take care of you. And you shouldn't rely on the government to take care of you.
Bonnie said, I've been using Alka-Seltzer for my fibro. It helps. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Lots of hugs and kisses. So
if you don't have Alka-Seltzer and you have fibromyalgia, you can take a half a teaspoon of baking soda in water and drink that. That will help also. Not quite as good. There's something with the combination of citric acid and baking soda in the Alka-Seltzer that helps you feel better. I think it has something to do with making you more alkaline or whatever. Also, if I drink a glass of orange juice, if I'm feeling sick, if I drink a glass of orange juice, the citric acid in the orange juice helps better also. Or sucking on some of those orange, those really strong citric acid orange candies, that'll do too.
Julie, Tara, I bought activated charcoal because of your videos.
Yay! Now don't forget to use it when you get a stomach bug.
Music Mad. Hi guys, still slowly unpacking. We'll be reorganizing preps at a later date, but I can't source those dried instant potato flakes. Haven't seen them in the supermarket for months. Anyone else?
Oh, really? So
she's in New Zealand.
Liz is in New Zealand. Good. I'm glad you're doing good, Liz. We've been wondering how you're doing. Wish I was there. I would help you unpack. I know what a pain it is. Wow. I don't know. Are you guys having a potato shortage or something? I don't know. Do you guys import? You must import most of your food, I would think, in New Zealand. But yeah, I mean, when I hear of a shortage, so this is a perfect example. When I hear that there's a shortage or there might be a shortage, if it's something that my family uses on a regular basis, like the potato flakes, I will just go stock up. I'll get 1 or 2 year supply. The potato flakes are great because you can use it to thicken soups and stews and make it bulkier and give you more calories and get you more sustainable food with those potato flakes, but they're lightweight and they really don't take up a lot of space. You also can use it as a sourdough starter in our Dining on a Dime cookbook, volume 1, 35% off right now, guys. We have a potato flake starter that is a sourdough bread that, that you don't have to have yeast to make. So our potato flake starter in here is a sourdough starter that uses potato flakes to help you ferment it for a couple of days, and then it helps the bread rise.
Pamela said rubbing alcohol expires too. Are you aware of that?
Yeah, it will expire. But I don't know if it's still flammable after it expires. So I just bought this last year, and this is 2023. So it looks like it's got about 18 months. I don't know. Does anybody know? Is it still at least flammable, even if it doesn't disinfect after it expires? What I might do is hold one out and see. What I need to do is go to an estate sale and see if a little lady medicine cabinet happens to have one. But I might just hold on to one and see. I don't know. Somebody tell me if you know, because I don't know.
And if it's in hydrogen peroxide, will go bad too.
Yeah.
And if you leave the lid off of peroxide, it'll go bad in like half hour.
Yeah. Peroxide, you have to make sure you keep the lid on, and it does expire, and it will, if it hits the air for long enough, it will be dead.
So just Vicky asked, does the Nido powdered milk stay good if unopened after the best by date?
No. And I actually have one of those that I probably need to just throw away. It has more fat than the boxes of dry milk. So if you'll notice, this is non-fat. The Nido is not non-fat. And the non-fat will stay longer than the Nido because this does not have the fat in it. And we don't really do milk very much here anymore. I don't even know how old this one is. Oh, this one's old. It's expired in 17, but I save it for my soaps and milk baths. And actually, I've been using it still, and it's still working just fine. So, hello, my son.
Hey, Jack.
All right, next question real quick.
Oh, I missed it. Joan asked, have you ever dehydrated cheese?
I have not dehydrated cheese. Nope. I don't know if it would be, I don't think cheese would really be able to be dehydrated because it says it has such a high fat content. It's the fat, guys, in foods. So it's the fat in flour. It's the oil in flour that makes it go rancid quick. It's the oil in your baking mixes and the baking powder that makes it go quicker. It's the oil. That's why pasta lasts longer than regular flour, because a lot of pastas don't have oil in them. Let me see. A lot of your regular oil is just wheat flour and just wheat flour. That's it. So like your regular pastas, it's just wheat flour. So it doesn't go quite as bad. It doesn't go bad as quickly as the regular flour.
Dean said, I see a bag of Diatomaceous Earth on your shelf. How do you use it in your long-term storage?
Okay, so I showed that a little bit earlier, but I'll run through real quick. So what I do is, first of all, I so Diatomaceous Earth, okay, right here. This is chopped up dinosaurs, okay? So basically what it is it's fossils that are basically ground up, okay? And what it is it kills pests by when they walk through it or it gets on their exoskeletons, it rips apart. I know it's kind of gross, but it rips apart the bug's skin basically, and then they dehydrate and die. That's how it works, okay? So when bugs walk across it, cuts them up. It's like little shards of glass for bugs. But the farmers put it in chickens and I don't know what other animals. Does it say what other animals? I know at least for chickens. It doesn't say, it just says animal feed. They put it in to kill parasites in animals. But people also get parasites and they use it to kill parasites in people also. It's food grade, okay? So first of all, if you eat this, it's not going to hurt you by any stretch of the imagination. You'll be just fine. I mean, I wouldn't go eat a whole bag of it, but if it gets in your food, it's no big deal. But how I do it is I put a whole perimeter around the room where I'm storing my food, just a sprinkling on the floor. Then in my big buckets, I put my food in their original bags. See, they're in their original bags. Then I sprinkle some on top. You can see I just got it on my hands. Sprinkle some on top. Then I sprinkle some on top of the bucket so that if the bugs try to get in, they don't get in. And then I just store them like this, okay? Now, these kinds of foods over here are the ones that I'm currently using, okay? So this is the rice that I'll pull from right now that we use. And we probably go through one of these every probably 4 to 5 days. We'll eat one of these, okay? And then the rest I store for a little bit longer term, and that's how I use it. And then when I had solid shelves, these aren't solid shelves, but when I had solid shelves, I also sprinkled it on the shelves. Now, I live in Wyoming. We do not have bugs. I know. All of you can holler whatever you want, but I have lived in Texas. I've lived in Kansas. Believe me, I know what bugs are like. But here in Wyoming, we do not have bugs at all like we had in Texas and Kansas. So you are going to fight it a little bit more in places like that. I would definitely spray with food grade insecticide. I would put your diatomaceous earth in also. And you're just going to have to, in places where you have bugs, Louisiana, Mississippi, those kind of things, you're just going to have to keep your fight going, freeze your stuff, put it in buckets.
I'm not sure if you mentioned it just now while you were talking about that. Idaho perhaps asked if you freeze your rice. We don't.
I don't freeze my rice. That's what I'm saying. We don't really have bugs here, and they don't get into our stuff here as much. So,
but is rice one you would freeze if you were in Louisiana or somewhere?
Yeah, you might. Yeah, rice does get weevils too.
Mindy, how long will activated charcoal last past the expiration date?
Oh, forever. It's just it really doesn't expire. You could use it forever.
It's kind of like a rock, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's wood. It's wood. It's charcoal. You can make your own activated charcoal. Just Google it and you can make your own. It's actually fairly easy. But it doesn't expire. Even the expiration date, they have to put it on there because it's a supplement, but it doesn't expire. You could use it forever. So, okay, next one.
I didn't see who said it, but somebody said that you shouldn't breathe the dust from the...
Yeah, I mean, breathing the dust from the diatomaceous earth, guys, when I'm putting it in, I'm not poofing it everywhere, okay? I'm gently sprinkling it around the edges. So I don't wear a mask or anything, but if you think big poofs of it are getting in you, then go ahead and wear a mask if you want. But I'm not like flinging it around anywhere. I'm just gently putting it down. So that's why I don't wear a mask, but you can do it if you want to.
Sorry, hang on a second. Kitsy Witty, how long do your dehydrated fruits and vegetables last on the shelves?
Quite a while. I've got some that are like 5 years old that I'm still using. that I probably should be using up, but I would say 5 or 6 years at least. If you use the vacuum sealer, they'll last probably 10 years, I would say. Because there's no oils in fruits and vegetables. So fruits wouldn't last as long as vegetables because they have more sugar. And, well, no, they would probably, because the sugar is a preservative. I don't know. Yeah, you could probably get 5 years out of dried fruits, probably.
Cecilia, is it okay to freeze butter?
Yes, my freezer's full of butter right now. I got it for, what was it, $1.50 or $2 a pound a couple of months ago. And I went and got like, holy cow, I got probably 50, 60 pounds. And so I just threw it all in my freezer. You can also make ghee out of it, which I eat because I'm dairy free. And you can can that if you need to. Super easy to make. You just throw, what ghee is it's the milk proteins removed. It's the milk proteins separated from the milk fat in butter. So you put the butter in a pan, let it boil on simmer for 20 minutes or so. And then when you see all the proteins at the bottom of your pan and the clear liquid at top, it's separated. And then you take the clear liquid and you can can it or freeze it, whatever you want to do.
Kimberly said, oh, where was it? Something along the lines of, isn't it great to have a live stream on Friday? But
so we're trying an experiment with our live streams. We're going to a YouTube conference in a month. And so we're trying an experiment with our live streams over the next month. And then if it doesn't work, we're going to talk to our YouTube peeps and have them help us figure out what we need to do.
And it's Kimberly Nash. And she also said, the pears on my Bartlett pear tree are all ripe. Made caramelized pear pie filling last night. And I'm going to make pear sauce and dehydrate some pears. My husband is eating them regularly. They're awesome pears. Our apple trees died last year in the bad winter, so no apples this year.
I'm sad. I wish I had fruit trees. That's the one thing about this property that I wish I would have had was fruit trees.
And I was thinking you might mention when we had the apple trees, how we saved all those.
Yeah,
apples.
we had apple trees in Idaho, and we made applesauce, and I just froze them, put it in zip top bags, and just stacked them in the freezer. And I froze applesauce, and we made dehydrated apples and apple butter, froze apple butter. I don't like canning. Personally, I have nothing against canning. Oh my goodness, 3 years ago, guys, I caused the canning world to absolutely explode off their heads off their shoulders. But I have nothing against canning, but I personally don't like it, and it really doesn't save money. I mean, if you're just already gardening and you enjoy gardening, it's fine. But if you've never gardened before and you're thinking you're going to go garden and start canning and saving all this money, you're not. I mean, my goodness, guys. One of these jars alone is as cheap as just going and buying 2 things of canned food at the grocery store. So if you just enjoy canning, go for it. I had a cousin that a canning jar exploded on her, so I've always been terrified to can because something like that would probably happen to me because I'm accident prone. I know that's not normal. I totally get that, but I just have a thing with it. So I don't can hardly anything. But I can do it if I needed to, no pun intended. But all right, next one.
Let's see. I think I lost the spot where I was. Romaine said the pancake flour and syrup disappeared during the pandemic right off the shelf, so I'm stored to the brim with both. LOL.
Yeah.
That's one thing. If you notice something goes away and you really love it, then stockpile that in case there's a shortage. Kitsy Witty, stuck up now. Please help spread the word. September is Preparedness Month. I did not know that.
Oh, yeah, because September 11th. Yeah, it is. It's Emergency Preparedness Month. I didn't think about that. That's true.
Tippy T&H wanted to say thank you for my free Bible and cookbook. I appreciate this knowledge on storage that you and your family provide.
Yay, you're welcome. Yeah, guys, if you need our cookbooks, 25% off right now, 35% off right now. Our Dining on a Dime cookbooks are on sale for our Labor Day sale, 35% off right now. And for those of you, oops, oh dear, oh, there. And for those of you who want our undated planner, at the start of the show, I had 2 of these left, and I had 16 of these left. I don't know how many I have left or if I have any left. If it doesn't say sold out, then I still have them in stock. So it'll say sold out when they're sold out. But that's all I have left of my undated planners for those of you who want them.
Lynette says the Zote soap is also good fish bait. I did not know that.
I didn't know that. Well, that's good to know because we've got 3 ponds behind our house. So that's good to know.
Well, it seems like it would last a long time.
Yeah.
Compared to other things.
Yeah.
And what about the life of toothpaste past the date on the tube?
So it's fine. The fluoride is probably what expires on that, but I would just use it. Now, we'll separate, but I have used separated toothpaste, and all I did was rub you can either squeeze it out and stir it up, or rub the tube if it's a plastic, easy pliable plastic tube. You can just massage it back together and it'll come back together. I've used expired toothpaste lots of times. One time I bought some from a lady at a garage sale and I didn't know it was expired. She was an extreme couponer and I got it for 50 cents instead of the $1 that at the store. So I stocked up. Didn't realize it was expired. We used it all over the year and it was fine.
Someone asked about what ghee is.
Ghee is clarified butter. It's when you boil butter, simmer butter. It's when you simmer butter and you separate the milk fat from the milk proteins. And the milk fat is what's called ghee. And it's dairy free and all that.
Pamela said that ghee is shelf stable for years.
Yes, ghee is shelf stable for years because the protein has been removed. And even though it's a fat, I don't know why, but that particular fat doesn't go rancid like other fats do.
Josephine is wondering, what will we do? What will you do if we have an EMP attack and no electricity is available?
We'll just be camping. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, we're doing a video on this. This is going to be Monday's video, I think. I had a viewer today tell me, she said, what do you think of solar panels? And we're going to actually talk about this on Monday. But guys.
Wait, Monday?
Yeah.
Okay.
EMPs, if something, I think people do not have a grasp. You may be camping for weeks or months or even years if we have something major happen.
That kind of catastrophe, yeah.
If we have some kind of a major big catastrophe like that, this lady was asking, should I do solar panels? And I'm going to give my answer on Monday about all that. But, you're going to have to be prepared to rough it for a while or, hopefully not. But like I have a friend in Michigan, I don't know how many days was Penny's electricity at. It was like 5 days or something, I think. I can't remember.
Did she ever get it back yet?
Yeah, she got it back, I think yesterday, maybe. I can't remember. But this is just a normal, everyday town in Michigan. And she didn't have power for several days. So, you're just going to need to be prepared. What would we do? We would just be camping. Now, our only big, really, really super big problem with this house is we don't have a wood stove. And I bought one and we got quotes to have it put in and they want $10,000 to put it in. I already have the stove. I'm like, seriously? They want $10,000 to put it in. So what we do is we have the stove on our property. And then if the fecal matter really hits the oscillation unit, we will just put the pipe out the window, bring the stove in the house, put the pipe out the window, and we'll just use it like that. I need to go get a couple of pieces of the cement backboard that you put between your wall and your stove, and then for the ground too. And then we'll just set it in the house and we won't put it in like you're supposed to if it's a true emergency like that. But that's the only problem with our house here, which is kind of surprising for being in Wyoming that we don't have a wood stove. We have a gas stove. So if gas is still available, then we'll be able to do that. But if it's an EMP or something, then they wouldn't be able to have gas or anything.
But that would be kind of an improvisation if we if we had a life and death situation, basically.
Yeah.
But it's Wyoming. We don't really need heat.
But I will say, I do have extra blankets. I do have extra sleeping bags. I do have tents for us to set up in the house for us to sleep in if we need to. Because here's the thing, unless it gets down to like 20 below, which usually it doesn't for more than a week or two, and this part of Wyoming hardly ever gets that cold, but at least that way at night we could be warm sleeping, and then during the day, because you have to realize your house inside is not going to get as cold as outside. So it's still some protection. It's not going to be comfortable, but it's still going to be cold. So it could get down to, you know, freezing and your pipes start freezing and that kind of thing. But if you have, you know, extra blankets and tents for you to sleep in your house, I have 2 3-man tents for us to sleep in the house. And then, you know, if you have dogs or that kind of thing, they'll sleep with you. They'll keep you warmer too. And so, yeah, we don't have dogs. We're done with dogs, but, you know, that's the kind of things that we're ready for.
Donna, does peanut butter spoil?
Yes, peanut butter does spoil. It has oil in it. Anything with oil. So think anything with oil, it will spoil. So your shortenings, your olive oils, your peanut butter, your flour has oil, your mayonnaises. What else do we got here? I'm trying to think of what else. Ramen noodles. So I was mistaken on ramen noodles. So ramen noodles used to just be wheat and flour, just like regular noodles. Or I mean, flour and water, just like regular noodles. But apparently they have some oil in them now. Let me make sure. Hold on before I say that. Let me make sure, because I'm going to just get myself in trouble if I'm not exact. Here, is it? Is it on here? No, it's not. Okay, hold on. Let me get my old lady look here. Flour, niacin, palm oil. Yeah, so there's oil in here, although palm oil lasts longer than other oils. But it used to be just flour and water, but now they have oils in them, and so they won't last as long as the old ones, or the ones that I knew of. I don't know if they're old ones or not. Okay, next one.
Carmel said, I'm sure you could find a YouTube video to instruct you how to install the wood stove yourself. And it's true.
Yes.
But where we are, the insurance will not cover us if the house burns down and we installed it ourselves.
Yeah. So the insurance won't cover us if we install it ourselves, unfortunately. But in an emergency situation, we would do it anyway.
Yeah, we would do it in emergency, but that's why we haven't done it now.
Yeah.
So a couple people were asking, what kind of backup do you have for your freezer if the electric goes down for a long time?
I don't. Here's the thing, guys. First of all, in the winter, it's not a big deal. So I only have to really worry about it in the summer. So what I do is I try to keep my freezer not as full in the summer as I do in the winter. So like I've let my chicken stock in my freezer go down right now. And this week I'm stocking up because next week it's supposed to start getting cooler again. But first of all, your freezer is fine in the winter. Your freezer will be fine for 3 to 5 days in the summer with the door closed. Put blankets over it, sleeping bags over it. Don't open it. Then next, start cooking out of it. Use it right away. Share with your neighbors, whatever, if you need to during the summer. But guys, I usually have no more than $200 worth, even when my freezer is completely stacked full, top to bottom, all the door, everything. I usually never have more than $200 worth of food in there. That is not that big of a loss. I mean, you don't want to lose it, and I would do everything I can to save it, but it's not that big of a loss. You have to keep it in perspective. That's why I was saying earlier in the show, if you lose even $100, $150 worth of food because you've misrotated it and you didn't get it eaten in time. How many people pay insurance, thousands and thousands of dollars for house and car and life insurance, and you don't use it? Well, you know, just think of it as an insurance policy. So, you know, I personally, it's been 5 years since I've had a standalone freezer. And we've had, I don't know how many ice storms and power outages. One time it was 3 weeks for an ice storm in January. We didn't lose anything because it was in January. All the other times it was less than 3 days and the power came back on and we were just fine. So I don't look at it as a big loss. $200 is really nothing in the big scheme of things. So.
And also our house was reasonably well insulated and it went 3 weeks without heat and nothing froze. Like the pipes or nothing.
Yeah.
Somebody did ask, what size of a freezer do we use?
I have no idea.
It's a full-size stand-up freezer.
Yeah. I have a big full-size stand-up one. And then maybe 25 cubic feet. That sounds like a number that it might be associated with my freezer. I'm not sure. And then I have a smaller one my aunt gave me that she, when she moved out of her apartment, she gave me her smaller one. So I have two. Basically, the smaller one is a pizza freezer for the boys. Yeah. So.
Peggy, love watching your channel. I have a question. I started stockpiling about a year ago, maybe. The only way I have available to me right now is to store in plastic bins with lids. Will it be all right in there?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it'll be fine. Yeah.
Harley wants to know, but how do you keep your water pipes from freezing if you don't have heat?
Well, okay, so you can do a couple of things. First, you can wrap them. So you can wrap them up. Well, no, wait, back up. First, run your water so that it's dripping all the time. And a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to waste that much water. Okay, let me tell you. Even if you used $50 worth, which you never would probably, but even if you used $50 worth of water, letting your pipes run, that's way cheaper than spending thousands of dollars fixing pipes that have burst, and you're fixing drywall and new carpet and new cabinets and all that stuff. Okay, so first of all, keep perspective. You got to keep it in, just keep it in perspective. Okay, so first of all, run all of your faucets. Just keep everything running faucets. Toilets. You can put antifreeze in toilets, and that will help them to not freeze. Next, you can wrap your pipes. If for the pipes that you can reach, you can start wrapping some of them that you can. Next, you can use small candles like in your, now this you have to be very, very careful with. Very careful with. I would not do this with little kids or dogs or cats or anything. But if it's just adults in the house and older kids, you could stick a candle under the kitchen sink, and that will give just enough heat to keep going. Once again, don't do something stupid. You got to be really careful. I would put it in a metal container or something like that. Don't set the candle by itself on the wood so that if it burns down and gets hot and all that stuff. But sometimes then you maybe just can't. Like within Texas, Texas does not have freezes ever. What do you call it? Yeah. They don't ever have freezes hardly. So they weren't prepared for 2 or 3 weeks or however long it was to have everything frozen. Sometimes the fecal matter hits the oscillation unit and you just can't help it, and you're just going to have to deal with the aftermath. But keep your pipes running. Keep your water running through your pipes if you can. That's the number one thing.
Well, and if it's a short-term disaster, you can, like days, you can open all the cabinets and keep the house closed. Yep. And if the cabinets are open, the heat from the house will keep it. As long as it's above freezing, it's fine. It has to get below freezing to really be dangerous for the pipes.
Yeah.
And when you're burning things in the house, well, things like the candle is fine, but some people try to use like grills and stuff, and that's really not a good idea.
Do not ever.
That will kill you.
Yeah, don't use a grill, any type of propane, except it's the little buddy heaters. They're designed for being in the house. But don't use your grill or propane camping things, nothing like that, guys. That's just dumb.
Well, and actually your mom said if you have to learn to drain your water pipes, and you can do that.
Yeah.
And it's actually pretty
drain your
easy.
Water pipes, yeah.
It's pretty easy to drain your water pipes.
Yeah.
So if you had to, that would be a good thing.
And learn that ahead of time. Practice ahead of time. Practice in summer. Actually, we should do that with this house because that was something that we might have a problem with. Practice now during summer so that when winter hits, You're not fumbling around trying to figure it out. Print out the instructions in case you can't get on the internet, and have them someplace in an emergency binder or something where you can find them immediately. That's actually a really good tip. Yeah.
Whoa, Jane from the country says, our mortgage is down to $39,000. You inspire us to put 50% of our income on it.
Good going,
Woohoo.
Jane. Wow. You go, girl. That's great. 50%.
Peggy.
Wow.
I know. Peggy, love watching your channel. I have a question. I started stockpiling about a year ago, maybe. Oh, no, we already answered that one. Sorry. Angela, what about powdered peanut butter?
Powdered peanut butter lasts longer than regular peanut butter because the fat is mostly removed, if not all removed. I can't remember which it is.
M. Hayes, any suggestion on long-term storage for fresh aloe vera plants? Just water them and keep them by a window.
Yeah, I would just water them and keep them by a window. I mean, you can... I've seen homesteading things where they have preserved aloe vera like juice. I don't know that I've seen. There's got to be a way to do the gel, but I don't know. I haven't ever seen that or tried that. Might just have to Google that one.
All right. Catherine Wong, I love that you're way too funny. Praise the Lord. It was earlier when you were joking around.
Oh, well, thank you. I didn't know us. What's funny is we never knew we were funny until people started saying we were funny. This is just the way we're just
naturally weird.
Yeah, we're just naturally weird.
Jim and Teresa, now is the perfect time to plant fruit trees in the fall.
Yes. So if you want fruit, as a matter of fact, a lady on our Facebook swap page here in our town has strawberries, and I'm going to see if she's got any left. Now is the time to plant your plants. Believe it or not, fall is the perfect time to plant your fruit trees, your raspberry bushes, your blueberry bushes. I just got 2 blueberry bushes for $2 instead of $15 on clearance, and they are in the ground and they are doing great. Why? Because fall, usually it's cooler, so they don't have as bad transplant shock. I'm surprised mine didn't have transplant shock because it's been really super hot here. But I've been keeping them really watered. But you also get more rain and then snow, and that moisture helps those plants get established better. So fall is the best time to plant all of your fruit trees and bushes and all of those things, plants.
Sandra asks, how long do instant potatoes with flavor pouches last?
So the instant potatoes will last quite a while. I mean, I don't know, probably 5 or 6 years at least. Now the flavor packets, depending on if they have oil in them, may or may not. So you'd have to look to see in the ingredients.
Camille says if you plant fruit trees, plant dwarf ones to get fruit faster.
Yes, dwarf fruit trees will give you fruit faster. They will also be easier to pick, but you don't get the quantity that you do from a regular tree. So you kind of have your payoff for those. Trade-off, I guess is what I'm saying.
Doodle Toot says, I'm liking this stream on Friday afternoon. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Tippy TNH, if I freeze rice for 2 days, do I then remove it and store it in an airtight container? And as this thaws out, will the rice spoil quicker?
So yeah, you need to make sure that there's no moisture in it. So I would, okay, so Google it for sure, because I have never done that. But what I would think you would need to do is to freeze it, kill everything, let it sit out and make sure probably 24, 48 hours, make sure that it's totally dry, and then go ahead and can it if you want. But go back to the beginning of the show and watch what I said about canning, guys. You don't want to be wasting canning jars on flour and rice when you can be using it for more expensive. Why are you using an expensive canning jar for 50 cents of flour or rice, or 10 cents of rice, when you could be using it for more expensive things like chicken and beef and pork, or even vegetables and fruits are more expensive than flour and rice. So I wouldn't use canning jars for that.
Lulu said, if your water pipes freeze or break, a lot of homeowner insurance policies won't cover to fix the broken pipes, but they will cover repairing the resulting damage.
Yeah, and sometimes they won't cover it if you don't have flood insurance. Sometimes pipes breaking is one of our houses. Remember, one of our houses that if your pipe broke, it was under flood insurance and not regular insurance. And if you didn't have flood insurance, it wasn't going to cover.
Well, in a lot of pipe breaking situations, you don't know they've broken until it thaws.
Yeah.
And then
you've
there
got
could
a
be
mess.
water in the walls and all kinds of crazy
And if you
stuff.
think your pipes have broken, at least get the water turned off. Make sure you turn the water off so that when they unfreeze and they burst, or if they burst and then they unfreeze, you've got the water that was already in the pipes dripping everywhere, but at least you're not continuing to have water. So like if you have to leave your house or something, make sure you turn off your water before you leave the house.
And I'd probably, if you can, drain the water too.
Yeah, if you can, but I drain it, but if you can't.
Let's see. Wendy, what is the best way to store nuts?
Freeze them. That's the best way. And nuts don't last long term because they have oil.
Wendy, do I need oxygen absorbers if I use a food saver to remove the air inside?
No. You can just for extra protection, but I wouldn't waste my money on them. As a matter of fact, you guys can see right here, I've got a whole packet of oxygen absorbers. The Mom vacuum sealed because we just don't use them that much because we just rotate through our food.
Yeah, actually, this is something that people should practice now. But Mindy says, know how to turn the water off at your house and have a key to turn it off at the street.
Yeah.
And pretty much all houses have a turn off at the street.
Yeah. Where we need to find ours, this new house.
Whoops.
Okay, as we're doing this, my prepping list is getting longer and longer.
Peggy, thank you for the live chat today. When you have it on Wednesday, I have to watch it later because I have church on Wednesday night. I love you. Have quietly watched you for many years.
Oh, thanks. Actually, I'm surprised we have people who've been with us for like 20, 25 years now. I had a lady that's been with us 23 years. I was like, whoa.
Let's see. I'm looking for other comments and questions here. What are you looking at?
Go
ahead. So that's all the ones I have on my normal list, but there might be some others that I haven't missed. You've already kind of talked about the Diatomaceous Earth, but Kathy was asking, is the white powder under the shelf behind you and on the litter behind you, the Diatomaceous Earth?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, she sees the loose on the top.
Yeah. Yep, right here. And I haven't put it all in my stockpile room yet. What happened was I just got it cleaned up yesterday. So what happened was I got everything in here, did my video, and then we got these shelves. Hello, Kimmy. You like my haircut?
Notice how she's got the smiley face and she's got the winky face. So she knew what you did to yourself.
So Kimmy, so for those of you that weren't at the beginning of the show, I texted Kimmy and
from She's in Her Apron.
Yeah, from She's in Her Apron. We're buds. And I texted her and I said, I got the, how did I put it? I can't remember. It was something like, I decided to just give myself a haircut an hour before a live show. And I did. She's like, Tara. So, it turned out.
Kimmy, I was having flashbacks to my eyebrow.
I whacked his, so this is the second time, but 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, I accidentally whacked off Mike's eyebrow when I was giving him a haircut. I did that like 10 years ago too, but anyway, so my room was all cleaned up, and then we got these shelves here for $20 each at a garage sale. Was it $20? No, it was $80. No, $10 each. $10 each. And it was $80 for all of them. Yeah. And so I wanted to bring these in here, and I have 2 of these that aren't full. So this looks full, but I have 1, 2, 3 shelves that aren't full on this, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shelves on another one over here that's not full. Well, what happened was I got everything dumped in here, and it's been like 2 months. And so I just got it cleaned up yesterday because we've had so much going on with getting the studio ready. So these are going to be getting full with food and stuff too. Probably canned goods, more canned goods.
Kimmy's getting a lot of love in the comments too.
Everybody loves Kimmy. She's so great. We can't wait to see. Oh man, how long do we have? 3 weeks? 4 weeks? 4 weeks. We have 4 weeks. Oh man, 4 weeks. I was hoping it was 3.
Oh, Harley, we are charged $200 to turn off the water. We need a special tool to turn the water off, and no one but the maintenance man has that. So if you own the house, then you can go to a hardware store and buy that tool for less than $200.
And let me tell you, in an emergency situation, I would.
If you own the house, I wouldn't. I mean, if it's a rental, then it's not your problem.
Yeah.
But if you own the house, I would definitely go get a tool, one of those tools.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot cheaper than paying somebody else or dealing with the disaster.
Yeah. And even if they fine you $200 or whatever, well, that's still way cheaper than having to deal with busted pipes and drywall and all that stuff.
Jane from the country, I thought when I tuned in today, your hairstyle looked exceptionally cute, and that yellow blouse looks so cute too. I thought the same thing.
Thank you. My DIY haircut. So I sent Mom and all my friends this picture. I should have done a video on it, I guess. I saw this guy on YouTube showing how to layer your hair. He was kind of a little strange, but it looked really good. And so I went and sent this picture right there. Whoops, wait a minute. Up right there. I sent that picture, and I said I decided to give myself a haircut an hour before the show.
It was like one of those moments when the child is about to fall off the bed and you know you can't reach the child in time.
That's it.
That was kind of the feeling I had when I saw the picture. But your hair's super cute like this. It's funny how it just popped itself into curls again when you cut it.
So it was my haircut lady. She lives in Colorado, 6 hours away, because I haven't found somebody here yet. I've been afraid. And she cut it for me 2 months ago, but it was kind of getting a little long and my perm wasn't as fluffy as I wanted it to be. So that's why I decided to relayer it myself. It was actually pretty easy. I'm surprised it turned out, but it was actually pretty easy.
Ooh, who says it? Somebody said, Claudia, you look like you've lost a lot of weight. You look great.
Thank you. I've lost 25 pounds.
Spirit Animal says you looks glam to me.
Thank you. Yeah, I've stalled. I haven't lost any weight for about a month now, so I need to get on track. I realized yesterday I'm eating too many calories now. I thought I just plateaued, but then when I added up my calories, I realized, oops, I'm eating too many calories. So I need to get and cut back and get back on it again because I still have 40 pounds to go.
Donna, any suggestions for dry, non-dairy, dry milk for someone who is allergic to dairy?
Nothing.
I
just store canned coconut milk for myself. I'm dairy free, so I just store canned coconut milk, but there's really no alternative that I know of.
Michelle, I lost the turn off key to my toilet, but found one. One time I had to turn it off. I called the front desk and borrowed their key. I would say you should check. Everyone should check everything in your house. If you lose something like that, you'd be very surprised, but you could go to Home Depot or Lowe's or somewhere else like that. And almost all the time you can buy replacement keys for those things. Yep. And I would definitely do that.
Yeah.
Curry He Standalone. Fruit tree talk, LOL. Just spent 2 hours picking plums. 30 fruit trees of various types in our backyard. Apple, pear, plum, cherry. Wife keeps giving me the evils for having to pick so much fruit.
Okay, I admit I'm jealous. That would be my dream property. If any of you watch Acre Homestead, oh my goodness, she bought my dream property. I was just like, oh, to have a garden with fruit trees and raspberries and blueberries and blackberries already in place, already producing. Oh my goodness. I've had one house, our house in Idaho had apple trees. Planted them in Kansas. We moved before they got big. Planted blueberries in Colorado. Then we decided to move. So I dug them up. Well, it was 5 years. We didn't know it was going to take us 5 years. And they ended up dying one winter in the pot buried in the ground. And I have never had fruit except for, well, and even in Idaho, I planted strawberries. And I didn't even get to enjoy them because we moved. And then Mom was still there and our house hadn't sold. So she was eating all my strawberries that I worked so hard on. So I have never had fruit trees or fruit plants except for the 1 year in Idaho. Was it 1 year or 2 years in Idaho? We had apples, but that was it. We had blackberries wild that we picked in Idaho, but it wasn't mine.
And it's helpful if you know how to recognize those, because we got tons of blackberries and raspberries wild.
Yeah. And we could get them huckleberries. We went up to the mountains last weekend and I just found raspberries just all over. And the bears had gotten, a lot of them, but my friend and I, we picked and we got a little box.
Oh, the boys were eating them like crazy. There were like 3 boys with us.
Yeah, we had 3 boys and we all had a nice little sampling, but you can go into the wild and get them.
Robin, waiting to harvest my newly acquired patio lemon tree. I have about 10 lemons getting ready to ripen, and I can't wait.
Yum. I'm still waiting for tomatoes. I've had a few cherry tomatoes, but I still don't have any tomato. I don't know if I'm going to get them before they freeze. We've had frosts here as early as September 15th, as late as the second week of November, average around October 15th, but I don't know if I'll get tomatoes this year.
If you asked a question and we didn't answer your question, go ahead and post it again, because we're getting to the end of what I've seen. Barbara did ask what pound weight of sleeping bags are best. I guess.
Okay, let me answer that question just a second. First of all, guys, if you want our planners, I have 2 of the polka dot left at the beginning of the show. They may be gone now. And I had 16 of the tropical left. That's all the planners. I'm done with planners after that. So, and then if you want our cookbooks, 35% off right now. Our cookbooks, Dining 1, Volume 1 and Volume 2. Our gluten-free, dairy-free is the green one. Everybody loves it. Let me tell you, my non-allergy issue kids love the recipes in the gluten-free, dairy-free. So when I make it for me, I have to hide the food because the boys will just eat it all. So it's really super delicious. What size sleeping bags? I don't know that I would recommend any. I would just say get some sleeping bags. Of course, the heavier ones, you're going to be warmer. The more weight there is, that means they have more stuff in them and they are warmer. But I would just say get anything. And if it's $100 for sleeping bags, can you go to a garage sale and get like 6 or 8 blankets for $1 each? I would do that instead. So
Beverly said, if you must turn off the water, turn off the water heaters. Yes.
Yeah. You can drain your water heaters too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And don't forget, if you need water, the back of the toilets are clean water. The water heaters are clean water. So if you need usable water, don't forget, like when we had our floods in 2013 in Colorado, the water department sent out a thing saying that we think the treatment plant is going. And so I started immediately filling up every single bathtub, my crock pot, anything that would hold water, trash cans, anything that would hold water. I called all my neighbors and I said, start filling everything up. They said, the water treatment plant's going. They're like, what? What do you mean? I said, you're not going to be able to flush your toilet if you don't have any water. Get some water now. And they all did. And thankfully, it came this close to collapsing the water treatment, and it didn't, thankfully. But
Katie was like, I have to get back from the store with my gallon of milk.
I was so mad at my friend Katie. We love you, Katie, if you happen to watch this. But she was going to get a gallon of milk.
1 gallon.
Flooding. The whole area was flooding in Colorado. And she's like, I got to go get a gallon of milk. And I'm like, Katie, don't go get a gallon of milk. You can just use some of my dry milk. No, I got to go get a dry. No. Could have killed her. But now Katie is prepared. I'm so proud of Katie. She's so prepared now.
Yeah. And I think partly with Beverly, she was talking about probably not so that the water heaters don't boil themselves dry.
Yeah.
But you can, if you're leaving the house, it's good to empty the water heater. But if you can't empty it, at least turning it off is better than
at least
not.
turn it off.
Yeah.
And have all the directions on how to do this ahead of time, guys. Get a binder. We need to just come up with a printable doing all this, don't we?
We should.
Yeah, we should actually.
We sort of started that one.
We did. Yeah, we need to.
Patricia has a question, and I need to know the answer too. Any idea how long deodorant lasts?
It doesn't go bad. The only thing that would go bad with it is if it's the gel kind, the water will evaporate, or even the roll-on kind too. The water will evaporate. But I'm pretty sure you can just put it in a jar or bowl or whatever, add some water, and it'll rehydrate and be just fine. I'm like 99% sure that would work. And if you don't have deodorant, just use baking soda under the pits, and it won't help with perspiration. So you'll still sweat, but you probably won't be stinking. Or get one of those deodorant rocks. Have you seen those? When I was a teenager, I had problems finding a deodorant that I wasn't allergic to. The rocks, it's just called a deodorant rock or deodorant stone. And it's just a stone. It's like a salt type stone. And you rub that and it kills, you wet it and you rub it on your pits, let it dry. And then it kills the bacteria under your pits.
Joan wants to know, what kind of alcohol do you stockpile and why? For example, whiskey, vodka, wine.
Right now I have a thing of whiskey and a thing of vodka is what I have. And I should probably get more, but we don't drink. And I just have that for medicinal purposes in case I have to sew somebody up or something. Heaven forbid.
Here, kid, drink this.
Here, Jack, drink a half a bottle of whiskey so I can sew you up. Oh my goodness, that would be awful. I would hate to. That's something I really don't want to do. If I needed to do it, I would do it. But I just have a couple of bottles for that on hand.
Andrew says military surplus are excellent sleeping bags, and they're often bargains on eBay.
Yeah. And look at garage sales, guys. Don't be afraid to buy these things at garage sales. I check for bugs. I look and see if there's any evidence of bugs for anything. And if there's not, I buy them at garage sales, bring them home, throw them in the washer, throw them in the dryer. The dryer will disinfect anything with the heat. The washer will wash most of it away. So I have no issue with buying anything like that from garage sales.
Romaine wants to know, what do you think of those bathtub fold-out buckets that fit in your tub for an emergency to collect water? I've never heard of that.
I have never heard of that. That's a new one on me. I don't know.
But whatever works, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I would just fill up my bathtub. I would fill up every single thing. If you hear you're losing water, like down who's flooding right now? Is it Mississippi or Louisiana or something? Someplace down south I think is Mississippi. Oh, we should check on Alderman's.
Well,
and see, but if I find out that there's flooding, I mean, even go so far as I'm looking up here, I have an old bushel basket that's made out of wood. Well, not wood. I don't know. Yeah, I guess it's wood strips. I would put a trash bag in that, fill it up with water, and then at least the trash bag would hold for, doing the toilet or something.
Your mom also suggested plastic totes, like
plastic totes, storage containers.
Dump all your wrapping paper out of it, fill it up with water.
Yeah, dump your wrapping paper out. I would take all the food out of these and I would fill them with water. I mean, yeah, you need to do when it's something like that, and you even have a hint. Let me tell you about the floods. So, I happened to be watching. I don't know why I was watching TV that day, but anyway, I happened to be watching something because we didn't have cable, and no, I was listening to the radio. And they had said something about it. I was like, I didn't watch TV in the morning. What was that about? I was listening to the radio and they said, it's been raining and raining. We think we might flood. So I turned on the TV and they're like, it might flood. So Mike had driven the kids 45 minutes north to school. They went to school 45 minutes north. And this was like at 9 o'clock in the morning. And I called him and I said, they're talking flooding. You guys may need to come home. He's like, okay, well, it's not that bad up here, so I'm not going to worry about it.
Well, they kept saying small stream flooding on the radio too.
So I called him again like an hour later and I said, Mike, they're talking flooding. You and the kids really I think you need to be thinking about coming home. He said, oh, no, it's just small stream flooding. It's no big deal. So then the next hour I said, dear, I think you guys really need to come home. And he said, well, no, it's not that bad up here. We're fine. So finally, this is noon then. This started like at 8:30 or 9 or something. They had just got up there for school when I started calling. And this was like noon. And I said, you know what? You need to come home now. I don't care what it's doing up there. Get the kids now and get home. And he's like, all right, fine. Now he knows to listen to me when I do these things.
Whatever.
But he went and got the kids, and they were on their way home, and he was flabbergasted. They were about probably 10 minutes from our house, 10, 15 minutes or so from our house. And the, what is it, the North Platte that runs through there? Is that what it was? Or the Pooter?
No, it was
anyway.
It was the Big Thompson.
Was it the Big Thompson? Yeah. So a river that's normally a small river had taken up a mile. It was almost a mile on both sides of the river, a half mile
under
on
that
each
bridge.
Side.
It's usually 15 feet wide and about probably 40 feet below the bridge. And it was right up to the bridge, and it was a mile wide.
Yeah. And literally 10 minutes after they passed the bridge, they walked in the door and they had closed the road. Right after they had walked in the door, they were like 5 minutes from them closing the road, because then it rose and went over the bridge. And so, guys, listen, my whole point to that story is when you hear even a hint, even if it's 5 days away, and they're like, oh, we're expecting, like in Kansas, they would say, oh, we're expecting tornadoes in 4 or 5 days. They would start predicting them like 4 or 5 days. I wouldn't go into massive prep mode, but I would start getting a few things together. Get your pictures together, get your stuff that you need to be protected, and get out if you need to get out, in a pile. Start preparing the minute you hear anything. As soon as I had any hint that the treatment plant was going to go bad, I started filling up everything, absolutely everything. If you hear you're going to have a blizzard, make sure you've got the firewood where you need it. Make sure you've got the cabinets open. Make sure you've got your tent so that you can stay warm and sleep at night. Any hint, you guys have to get prepared right away. The problem is people don't listen, and then they end up like Katrina. That's my rant for the day. Okay.
Actually, one little side note. The kids and I were trying to come home, and there was total gridlock on the highway. So we knew we could get off and take a county road back to our house. So we got off and we got on the county road, and we were driving along, and all of a sudden there was no bridge. And there was no sign that said the bridge was out or anything. There just wasn't a bridge. So in an emergency, you have to be definitely on high alert of things that you might not expect.
Yeah. So now when it's happened before, the kids just come home. We don't even worry about it. If it's a blizzard, I'm like, I don't care. We had a couple of blizzards in Colorado, and I told Mike, I said, I don't care if school's not closed. Go get the kids and bring them home now. Sure enough, school closed an hour later, and we didn't have to deal with the big mess. So,
I can't remember who asked. Somebody asked if they don't have any insulation in their house, what would be good to do to put on the walls?
Blankets. I would hang blankets on the wall, just nail them on the wall. You just have to put 2 nails on each side, but I would hang blankets over the windows, on the walls. Yeah.
If you can make a separation between the wall and something else where air can stay in there.
Yeah.
Although, would it get wet though and mold?
Well, I mean, it depends on where you live. Like in Louisiana and Texas, Mississippi, yeah, it might. You just have to do what you can, but blankets to hang on the walls is what I would do. And definitely cover the windows. Yeah.
Yeah, so Katie's way more organized than me. Have you ever considered using a barcode scanner system or a QR system for organizing?
Oh, have mercy. No.
Well, there were a couple of people in there.
There's no way I'm not organized.
What's funny is we know a few people that are super ultra organized, and I guess if you could do it, it might be all right.
I say more power to you.
But we're totally nowhere near that
there's
level.
No way.
That's over. What am I trying to say?
That's over my brain capacity.
Next level. That's what I was going to say.
That's over my brain
top
capacity.
Shelf stuff right there.
Go for it if you can. I mean.
Oh, Joan says cover the walls with cardboard. And your mom was mentioning heavy plastic on the windows. Yeah, when we had some pretty not well insulated houses that weren't very warm, Tara, put that plastic, she taped it all around and then used a hair dryer to make it tighten up.
Special shrink plastic for windows that you can put on, and that will help the draft in the windows.
And we could see it in the winter that the plastic would come out, then it would go in as the wind was blowing outside. So it worked really well.
Yep.
I think that's about all I see.
livingonadime.com, guys, 35% off all our books right now. Go grab them. They are on sale for Labor Day. 35% off all of our print books. Our planners are not on sale. That's because I only have 2 of the polka dot and 16 at the start of the show, 16 of the tropical. It will say sold out when they are sold out, so it won't allow you to order the just the planners. We have plenty. We have 15,000 books in our garage, so we have plenty of cookbooks left. 35% off now. Thank you guys for joining me. livingonadime.com. We will see you guys next time. Oops, Mike's putting in the links. We're almost there. Hold on one more minute, and we will sing
Kumbaya.
Kumbaya.
All right.
Kumbaya, my Lord. Kumbaya. Kumbaya, my Lord.
And Jack
Kumbaya.
makes his last appearance.
You want to come say
on the
hi,
show
goodbye
for the
before
day.
everybody leaves? Here
For
comes
the
Jack.
day.
Everybody say hi to Jack. He's gotten so tall now.
Hello.
He's as tall as Dad now.
Yeah.
So goodbye, guys. Have a good night. livingonadime.com.
Bye.